Welcome to the Good Success Podcast. We have an amazing show scheduled for you today, but before we get started, let's have a word from our sponsors. Radius Renovation Group is a full-service construction management solution for investors of single-family and small multifamily investors in 25 states. Whether you own one property or hundreds in different states, the goal is to be your one-stop shop for all your construction needs to increase property values and to give you a positive and profitable outcome. Using their 8-step process, Radius will walk the project, complete a line-by-line scope of work and estimate, schedule work with licensed and Radius certified contractors, manage the project and contractors, pay the contractors as work is completed, provide quality control throughout the project, and when the project is complete, do a final inspection. Clients are provided with login access to Radius's cloud-based project management platform to view work schedules and updated photos of each job. There is even the ability to directly message the project manager. Radius only works with real estate investors, so they speak your language and understand your needs, from project timing to investor-friendly pricing. If you're an investor who is done trying to manage contractors and rehabs on your own, it might be time to consider having Radius as your partner. To put their expertise to work for you today, visit the Radius website at www.radiusreno.com or call them right now at 417-730-9777. And now, back to the Good Success Podcast.
You got to give before you receive, right? So figure out what kind of value you could give to your customer or to your community or to your business before you ask for the business. Every single time when we plan a house renovation, we're like, okay, we'd like this much rent. What are we going to put into that house? Or we'd like to make, we'd like to ask for this. What are we going to give to our clients? So give first and then receive.
Welcome back to the Good Success Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Culler. Got Tom Olson, president of Good Success, sitting right next to me.
That's me.
That's you. Yeah, absolutely. And then we got an awesome guest on the show. I'm very excited about this one. We've been trying to get Alex on for quite a while since he actually joined the Mastermind.
Yeah, he always has something going on.
Always got something going on. So we've got Alex Lugovoy out of Richmond, Virginia on the line today. Alex, what is going on, my friend?
Great. Well, Josh and Tom, thank you so much for having me. Always an honor since I joined the Mastermind. Just been a tremendous amount of getting to know you, learning a tremendous amount from Good Success. That's what's going on. I mean, I feel like I already increased my business through acquisitions, and I was talking to Tom about it like a couple of weeks ago. We've done more acquisitions in this first quarter than we did all of last year. So awesome. It's been a great ride.
That's amazing. So the Mastermind's good for you then? You like it?
It's working.
It's just been amazing learning from, because it's impossible for us to know everything there's about real estate. There's acquisitions, there's construction, there's property management. And for us as owner operators, it's just, getting, I may be good in property management. I'm not so good in acquisition, but there's always somebody who is good at that and not as good in property management. So we talk, we share ideas, and that's kind of where I've been the best takeaway for me from a Mastermind. And it's just been great to share some ideas with some of the smartest minds in this business.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Glad to hear that the value is coming to you in full force. So we're happy to have you in the Mastermind, but we're glad to have you on the podcast today. We appreciate you jumping on and spending time with us. Like I said, Alex is out of Richmond, Virginia, and from that Richmond Mafia. There's so many Richmond people out there. Yes. And then he's a Good Success Mastermind member, but
and he does student housing is kind of like
something
his
interesting. Yeah.
thing.
So he does student housing, but something that he talks about is that every single one of his properties he can see from his bedroom. So, he kind of talks about that. So we're going to go deep into that and how he can.
Not every single one, but a good
most
amount.
of them. Yeah. And metaphorically, right? They're right in that specific area. So Alex is very niche to in a very specific area, and we're going to have him talk about that. But before we get into it, if you guys haven't already, make sure you have subscribed to the Good Success Podcast. We're on all podcast platforms. Search Good Success. You'll find us there. or just go and download the app, the Good Success official mobile app on the Apple App Store or the Android store or the Google Play Store for Android. Just search Good Success. You'll find it there. It's very easy to use, a lot of easy search functionalities. And as soon as this podcast goes out with Alex, you'll be able to just search his name and then it'll pull up right away. So make sure you do that. And then the Good Success Mastermind, we mentioned Alex is in the Mastermind. He has been for 2 events now, so 2 quarters. And so we're glad to have him in there. But if you guys want to learn more about it, goodsuccess.com/mastermind, you'll need to fill out an application there, and then you'll get on a phone call with Tom himself and then talk about, you guys are going to get to hear Alex talk today. This is the person, these are the type of people that are in our room, just amazing, down-to-earth people that want to be givers, that are givers, that influencing their communities, whether it's the community in the mastermind, the community, their geographical location where they actually invest in, and the entire network. So this is the type of people that we want in the mastermind, and Tom's going to jump on a call with you to talk about that. So goodsuccess.com/masterminds, where you can learn more about it. Tom, do you want to talk a little bit more about the mastermind?
No, I think Alex did a great job. I was just trying to pull up the app here.
Oh, yeah.
So it's pretty cool. I think it's awesome. It's super easy just to kind of go through and find all the different podcasts. But the mastermind is awesome. Alex just told you like exactly why we do the mastermind. It's for Alex. It's for people just like Alex that are looking to find other people as expertise. It's really like, the way I look at it is, it's not, there's no shortcuts. Mm-hmm. There's no shortcuts in life. However, you can get there a lot faster. And the way you can get there faster is by hooking your sales to other people that know what they're doing and finding those fewer betters, putting yourself in those rooms of people that you can trust to guide you, and find the right, quickest way to get there. So that's, to me, I think it's all about speed, and I think that's what Mastermind helps you get.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys want to learn more about it, you heard there's not really any other thing that we need to say about it. goodsuccess.com/mastermind. Go check it out. Hopefully we'll see you at the next one. And then the Community Go-Giver event, we're going to sell out at 80 seats. It's going to be an exciting event, June 26, 27, 28. And this is Tom's thing, but man, this is absolutely incredible. A lot of great speakers that are lined up for that. CommunityGoGiver.com is where you can go pick up your tickets. Tom, let's chat about this for like 30 seconds. What do you got going on?
Real quick, if you're a Mastermind member, you actually get to come as part of your membership. It is included. So just make sure that you get with me at the next Mastermind and sign up for that. I do need you to sign up because I do need to know, because I can only have so many people here with their seat. So make sure that happens. I've had like 3 or 4 different Mastermind members tell me that they're going to sign up, and I only have one person so far that actually has. So
they're visionaries.
If that's you, get your assistant to sign you up if you're going to be here. So anyways, and then also talked about this already on the other podcast we were on today, but make sure you book your hotel, because in Northwest Indiana in the middle of July or the middle of June, there's not going to be very many hotel rooms. One of the largest hotels in the area has been torn down, and they're rebuilding a resort there. So that's like taking up like 1,000 rooms that are normally available. So make sure you book your hotel prior in advance. You're not gonna want to miss it. I'm sure it's gonna sell out. So get your tickets, CommunityGoGiver.com.
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't need to say any more about that. So let's go ahead and jump into the interview today. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter one. We got Alex on. He's got a huge business to run. It's just like so much going on. So we're going to squeeze and juice as much value out of this as we possibly can. So Alex, for the people that don't know who you are, if you could do us a favor, just briefly introduce yourself. So who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Alex Lugovoy, I am actually coming from the pharmaceutical industry. I was a merger and acquisition, business development, kind of went up the corporate ladder, and got moved to Richmond, Virginia, out of the Northeast for a pharmaceutical company. When I got here, living in New York City where I lived before, I've never owned real estate, didn't know anything about real estate. I just rented. I was just a great rental living in an apartment. Moved here, bought my first house, and I said, oh, okay, well, this was, so I moved here for a job, and, realized the real estate was cheap. I bought actually a 4-unit where I lived, and the other 3 units paid my rent. I was kind of a bachelor then, and realized, wow, this is, I could actually live for free somewhere, which I guess it's called house hacking right now.
Yeah.
Back then, it was just a smart way to live, right?
Yeah.
And so then the same owner approached me, and he's like, hey, I have a duplex on the same block. Are you interested in buying? I did the numbers. And I said, wow, this is really good cash on cash return. I purchased that property, and within a year, I owned 6 units. One of them I lived in, and then I said, wow, I wonder if there's any other opportunities like that. And in my neighborhood, literally, this was 2010. There were literally like 80 foreclosures, right? So in my neighborhood, I would say I was kind of like, by accident, I ended up on the path of progress. So behind my building was like a good neighborhood called Bird Park, and then there's the Fan where there was lakes and, really nice houses. And in front of me, literally across the street, were this, I'd say, other side of the railroad tracks. There were boarded up houses, there were vacant houses, there were drug activities. When I bought my house, on my corner and across the street, there were literally, crack and cocaine deals going on. In the middle of the afternoon, I would walk down the street and there were hypodermic needles. And I said, well, I was wondering, I'm wondering if I could do something to my neighborhood. And it turned out, there's a lot of things you can do. You could volunteer to clean up. You could do a lot of this stuff. I ended up buying boarded up houses where a lot of like people would go to use drugs. They would literally, I noticed they would go to my corner, buy the drugs, and go to this empty house across the street, and that's what they use the drugs. Well, I kind of got tired of that. I found the owner of that house. He sold it to me for, what was, as you could imagine, a pretty good price, given the fact that it's an empty house that was empty for 20 years. And then I unboarded up, learned, really drank from the fire hose about what a renovation is. As you can imagine, I made every single mistake in the book on renovation, but I bought the property cheap enough that it still kind of made sense, right? Mm-hmm. And then I came to the time to sell it, but I said, it's right across the street from my house. I'd like to kind of be able to control and know who it is. So I said, I'm going to hold on to it, and therefore I became a landlord, right?
Yeah.
And then just kind of repeated that. I'd say over the last, since 2010, so over the last 9 years, I've bought and unboarded up about 100 boarded up houses in that neighborhood called Randolph. And so if you think about that, what a difference to the neighborhood is. It went from all of these like empty houses where crime was being committed. There was people on the corner walking at all hours of the night, to now the only people you see at night are like, couples or young professionals walking down the street, which it's amazing what that does to a neighborhood. And given the fact that I live there, now I have kids, and it's just been amazing to have to kind of be able to see that transition and knowing that I took part of it. Now, I didn't buy all the boarded up houses. I kind of started. I was one of the early movers, kind of like what Tom is doing and Gary. But there was, once people saw my success, there's more and more and more. And I love being the victim of my own success. There was more people that came in, and then the neighborhood really changed. Of course, it helped with my property values as well, because I didn't, one individual can't actually buy up everything. So but I'm really, I would say, what I've done and what I'm really proud of. And if I had to like say, hey, on my tombstone, it's like, hey, this guy, really made an impact in Randolph. I'd like to say that, right? And that's my neighbor. So I'm really proud of it. So when I was saying out of my bedroom, I could see, and really like across the street, there's little like 5 single family houses, and I have a multifamily that I own like in Kidding Corner, and I could literally see that from a bedroom window. So, when I look out my window, I look at like 35, 40 units that I've renovated, and then of course there's other blocks and blocks. And
So how many units do you have?
So we're up to 150.
So you have over 150 units, and they're all within a 1 mile radius?
All within a mile radius of Virginia Commonwealth University. So
yes.
So I'm basically in student housing, and I didn't mean to be in student housing. I was just improving my neighborhood. But what happened is, when you have a neighborhood that's been known for drive-by shootings and crack and cocaine, you're not going to have normal people move in there, families and like that. So what happened is it was close to the university, so a lot of students were the first one to start moving in and rent those houses. Students don't have much to lose. There's not much that they from them. So they were the one that was moving the first ones, the gentrifying neighborhood. And what's interesting now, since the neighborhood is changing, it's becoming less students and more young professionals, right? So I kind of went through phases in this neighborhood. First, it was the students, and it's still mainly students. But then, you know, all it takes is one Starbucks. Well, we don't have a Starbucks yet, but it takes like some sort of a critical event. And now you have, you know, we have Capital One in Richmond. Now there's some people who work at Capital One who choose to live in a neighborhood. They could afford to live anywhere, but they like to live in a neighborhood. We're close by the river. There's some parks here, and there's no drugs anymore, right? So they feel safe at night. So as long as you kind of get rid of that safety, Richmond turns out to be a beautiful place, right? And particularly that neighborhood.
Yeah, I think too many times I see, like in neighborhoods or in areas or cities, everybody's waiting for the government to start and do something. And they always think it's up to them to make it happen. But really the people, the heroes on the street are people like Alex that are out there actually making a difference and using real estate to make a living, to make an honest living, to add value to the community and make money doing so, but really change the community from the community inside out. So like what he's done is amazing. I love his story. I think I'm going to try to see if he'll come to the Community Go Giver in 2020 and
That's
speak.
That's definitely a Community Go Giving.
So yeah. I'm already starting to like get my list of people to speak for the Community Go Giver for 2020. But it's a great story. I love it. And I love the fact that, like he said, he has 150 units all within a 1 mile radius. I mean, that's a lot of concentration. And so I love the model and love speaking with Alex. I think he's got a great heart. And that's the thing, like, he did it kind of because he didn't want to have to travel all over the place. But at the end of the day, like, he really has helped that community so much more than most people could even imagine. And he had to put his money at risk first. He was the first one to go in there. And yes, his properties have probably doubled or tripled in value since he's kind of started. But he took the risk. You know, you take the bigger risk, you get the bigger reward sometimes.
Yeah, and that's the power of real estate. That's what you could do with real estate, is change an entire community. I mean, you guys just heard the entire thing that Alex was saying. And that's what you could do. Like, Alex can do it, Tom can do it, you can do it. Like, anybody can do it in their community. So that's something you guys got to take away with this. So, Alex, let's get down to brass tacks here. So when it comes to student housing, let's kind of morph this into one question. There's kind of two topics, but one question. You got student housing right in a 1 mile radius of VCU. What are some things that you have found that work for you? Why you even keep it in a 1 mile radius? Why stick to that? Why not go out any further? Maybe we don't need to go into why student housing, because you kind of explained a little bit. People just kind of started moving there. So let's talk about the 1 mile radius thing. Like, why not go any further? Why is it keeping, and maybe what problems does that present?
Yeah. So as you can imagine, when I started my business, it wasn't really in student housing. It's just the students came, and then I realized about a year into it, wow, I'm really in student housing. Majority of my renters are students. And so, I got to learn kind of the cycle of when they're looking for rents, when they're not looking for rents, how much they want to pay, how much, what kind of properties they're looking for. They're looking to, get together. We combine living room and kitchen together. They're looking for a large common space where they can hang out. They're looking for bedrooms. They're also looking for more bathrooms than you average, like family, right? Because they don't like to share as many bathrooms. And they're looking for something special in the backyard, a hammock, some lights, something like that. And so once they kind of figured out that formula, then let's see if there's anything else. And there's actually two more neighborhoods that were actually just as distressed, Jackson Ward and Carver. So, I was south of VCU, and then I realized there's some neighborhoods that are just distressed north of VCU, and I wonder if I could repeat my model, right? And it worked out well. It wasn't I didn't make as much impact there because I was a late comer. I was there 2 or 3 years later, and there was more people coming in. But I basically took the model from my neighborhood and replicated it into other neighborhoods using the student. Now, why students? Well, because once I cracked the formula of understanding the students, you want to know, I invested a lot of time, energy, understanding it. Then you want to actually figure out how you can leverage that knowledge and execution, right? And so, once you have a formula for one house, you want to repeat, right? Nothing in business, success in business is actually pretty boring, right? You spend the first 10% of your business exciting, figuring it out, it's all new, it's all exciting, and then you just do the same thing over and over, right? And so that's how you grow from 10 to 100 or to 200 or 300. You want to do the same thing over and over, because why? That lowers your risk. You have the knowledge base. Investors feel comfortable with you because you're like, oh, you've done 20 deals like this, so now you're going to do 21st. I feel comfortable lending you money. And then I have one property manager, and they have the same client base, which are the students, and so they don't have to learn multifamily. They have to learn commercial lenders. They don't have to learn manage a restaurant tenant and a student and a family. It's all, when you have the same unified type of base, it helps you keep the cost of your business low and eliminate a lot of mistakes, more importantly, because real estate, there's a lot of mistakes, and if you make them, you want to try to minimize them, right?
Yeah. I hope you've been enjoying this Good Success podcast, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Our next sponsor is Gary Harper at Sharper Business Solutions. Your business is a personal endeavor that you have poured your blood, sweat, and tears into, and they know that. Sharper Business Solutions is a full-service solution to help you scale your dream. Sharper Business Solution implements the Sharper process and other key systems, giving you the confidence that you need to have freedom and grow and scale your business. The Sharper team wants to come right alongside you and provide the resources needed for long-term growth and success. If you are looking to grow or scale your business, contact my friend and Good Success Mastermind member, Gary Harper, and his team to help you implement the Sharper process. You can schedule your free consultation today at sharperprocess.com. So go do it right now. Go to sharperprocess.com and schedule your free consultation with Gary and his team. Our next sponsor is Jerry Padilla from Prime Lending. Whether it's your first time buying a home or you're well adversed in the process, buying and refinancing a home can be an exciting and rewarding but sometimes challenging experience. At Prime Lending, we take the time to listen and work with you to find a home loan that fits your needs. If you are looking to refinance your loan, lower your interest rate, lower your monthly payments, shorten your term, or get cash for whatever reason you need, we have a solution for you. Prime Lending also has several options for renovation loans, so you can find what works best for you and your home project. Make sure you contact our good friend, Jerry Padilla, who is a senior loan officer and originator with Prime Lending and has over 11 years in the mortgage industry. You can learn more about Jerry and what Prime Lending has to offer you by visiting goodsuccess.com/prime lending. Again, that's goodsuccess.com/prime lending. And now, back to our show.
As possible. So let's talk about the rental portfolio. So how managing that all comes into play. So we've had plenty of property managers on the show here. Yours is a little bit different because you're not, some of the property managers we've had on are nationwide or statewide or, the entire city. So what are some things for you? I mean, if you could see most of your units from your bedroom window, right? Maybe the management's not difficult, but maybe it is. So what are some things that you need to know about that?
Well, anything with students makes it, 10x multiplying.
I got it.
Because they figure out a way how to get in trouble no matter what. But, we all love them, of course. Hey, they pay our rent, and, that's how we make a living. The student housing is a different animal for two reasons. One is turnover, right? So basically every summer, all the students, not all, but majority of the students move out and, they go home and then they move back at the beginning of the semester. So the summertime is when we spend a lot of time upgrading our units, renovating them, right? Fixing a lot of the damage that a lot of these student parties occur. That's basically called turnover. So if you're in student housing, don't expect to go on vacation in the summer, right? You're just be working. Your summertime is going to suck. Now, around the holidays and Christmas, when everybody's home and nobody's turning over, you could really take a whole month off, right? There's some trade-offs. So the way I would explain student housing is you do about a full year's of work in 3 months. You lease all your properties in 3 months, and you actually do all the work turning it over in 3 months. There's not like consistency. Oh, 5% of my units turn over every month, and I kind of turn them over. No. They all come at the same time, July, right?
Interesting.
And so you got to scale up really fast. What we do is we hire student interns, right? Because they become our leasing agents, because they have the network in the school, and they get to know how a real business operates. We invest a lot of time in training them, right? Because clearly student interns, they don't know sales, they don't know leasing, they don't know anything. So we have training manuals. So we basically, a lot of our time in February, March is training our student interns. And then they go out and they lease in second half of March, April, May. And then if they're really good and they're detail oriented, we keep them for summer internship, where they really become project managers, and they take a look at the property, they checklist, they manage the subcontractors, because in the summertime we can scale up to 50 subcontractors where they're like turning over all our properties. It becomes fun summer. So and then it works out well, because after they do the turnover, then they go back to school, and they're like, wow, school doesn't suck, because I just worked 10-hour days for the last 3 months. And, I've learned a lot. I learned the value of hard work. And then, what I really learned is you should stay in school and get a good education, so I could work in an air-conditioned office and really add value, right? Versus running around in 100-degree weather and trying to turn over properties.
Sure. That's interesting. So you pretty much reverse cycle from the students' years. So that's interesting. But
Absolutely. It's the same way in property management. For us, we're kicking everybody out, it seems like, after the holidays, because they didn't pay they racked up too much credit card debt, and they don't have enough money to pay their rent in January and February. And then it's super easy to rent because everybody's getting tax money back. It's the weirdest thing. So that's awesome. So question, do all the students know that these are your houses, or what do you do there with that? Do you kind of shield yourself from that, or are you the most popular guy at all the parties?
That's good. Yeah, it's a block party. It's all of Alex houses.
I've been in the early days when I was property managing. We've been invited to a few parties that of course we always say no, but it's interesting. And 1 second, this one. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we have 5-10 minutes until we get the inspection. So we have. What we do is we have a property management company, and we do try to brand ourselves just to kind of stand away from the competition. I mean, we have hundreds and hundreds of students that we rent to, also young professionals. Now it's becoming more young professionals, but we're initially we didn't focus on customer service, but now we are. Right now we're focusing on customer service. Now we're focusing on I've brought in a former hotel manager that's actually really has a focus on customer service, and that's really how we hope to differentiate ourselves from other, let's just say, moms and pops in the VCU student housing market, because we really want to become a brand and grow that way. When we first were having 10 properties, that's not, but once you get to 150, we really want to have a brand and say, oh, this is Dobrin. They get out within 24 hours when we call a maintenance call. Any kind of time we have a phone call, they answer. We do stuff on our competitors, and nobody seems to pick up the phone when property management. So, first solution we did, hey, if the phone rings two times, we have our office manager. You got to pick it up, right? So we try to differentiate ourselves on our service and really trying to make a brand. And that's not what I focused on in the early years. I've been kind of flying. We've just been kind of focusing on renovation, changing neighborhood, but now we're getting in a more mature stage where we really want to differentiate ourselves in service.
That's awesome. I really appreciate your time, Alex, and and spending some time with us today. I know you've got to go. You can't spend too much more time with us. So I just wanted to make sure that you know how much we appreciate you being in the Mastermind, and also appreciate you being on the podcast today. I think it's really interesting on how much he fits kind of in the Mastermind, in our core, genius and our core values of good success, where he's really focused on the community, but he's also trying to grow and get better every single week and every single day and every single year as the years pass, talking about differentiating yourself and all that. So I appreciate that. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every single time, Tom, I go to a Mastermind event, I mean, I come back with 30 or 40 ideas that each one of them could be thousands of dollars. And so I kind of sit down with my management team and we're just executing it. We were able to, and I don't know if you, but our KPIs, we start tracking our KPIs since one of the first Mastermind events. And, our operating expense have been lower and lower and lower and lower by talking to some property managers there in your Mastermind. It's just been great.
Awesome. That's amazing. Yeah, and we definitely love that nugget previously that you mentioned, the customer service. That's taking it at a different mindset of taking care of your community and people that are in your properties that, like you said, are paying the bills, right? Yeah. So we're going to wrap this up real quick. Alex, we're going to rattle off these last two questions here that they're just going to be really snappy questions. We ask every single person we get on the interview here. Definitely interested to hear what you have to say. So you know us. You've been to a couple of our masterminds. You know Tom very well. You know what good success is all about. You've seen the group. So when you hear that term good success, maybe it was the first time you heard about this when Mo referred you to our mastermind. When you hear that term good success, maybe not the group of people, but the actual term, what does that mean to you? What comes to mind when you hear that term good success?
So good success, it's not just success in terms of financial rewards, but it's really the good part is how do you share that success, right? So one of the things that I'm focusing on that I haven't actually, now that I'm thinking about, so not only do I want to focus on service to our tenants, but we also want to give back to the community. Yeah, it's nice that we onboarded up some houses and lowered the crime analysis, but really it's focused on how do we give back to community. So I encourage my employees to go back and participate in community cleanup events, right? So we get to know the tenants, that not only just the tenants, but also the community members. Because not everybody, let's just be honest, not everybody likes students, right? They make noise, they throw parties, right? So the people who live there for decades are like, man, the students come in here, I much rather hear bullets at night than really loud party till like 5 a.m. because the bullet's only like 3 seconds or something. I literally had these conversations with people that lived there for decades, and they're like, I'm like, well, yeah, you pick up beer bottles, but before it was hypodermic needles and bullets. Like, what? Like, isn't this better? And they're like, no, because this is constant. So anyway, what I try to do is I try to show that not all students are bad, and I try to get them out to events, giving back to the community, picking up their beer cans, right? So we have one coming up this weekend that I'm trying to get like 50% of my employees to come to, and as many students as possible. We don't know what the turnout's going to be, but we've been marketing it. So that's good success. Not only are you successful financially, that's nice, but what are you giving back to the community that gave you that success, right? Because there's always a community, the contractors or people or the city or tenants. What are you giving back to them? And then, what kind of value are you creating? That's really good success, right?
Awesome. Yes, that is fantastic. And we definitely appreciate you sharing that. Now you got to leave the audience with one thing, just one simple and quick thing. Whether it's a book you've read, you want to share, a quote, piece of advice, a thought, whatever it is. One thing you got to leave the audience with, what would that be?
You got to give before you receive, right? So figure out what kind of value you could give to your customer or to your community or to your business before you ask for the business. Every single time when we plan a house renovation, we're like, okay, we'd like this much rent. What are we going to put into that house? Or we'd like to make, we'd like to ask for this. What are we going to give to our clients? So give first and then receive.
Love that. That's awesome. Absolutely fantastic. Alex, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for taking the time. If you got to jump off now, you're more than welcome to. We're going to wrap up the show here. But before you go, if somebody wanted to get in contact with you and reach out to you, what would be the easiest way to make that happen? Email address, phone number, whatever.
Yeah, sure. So my email is Alex, ALEX, @dobrinhomes, DOBRINHOMES.com. Please go ahead and email me. I'm just know that it may be a day or a couple of days until I return a call. I mean, I manage property management, construction, development. I also have a small consulting business. It's one of these things. But please go ahead and email me any questions you have on student housing, improving communities, anything. Tom is just been so grateful to me, and I'm grateful to him. So anybody who listens to Tom and Josh, always be a friend of mine. Thank you.
Great stuff. Thank you for sharing that, Alex. If you got to go ahead and jump off, and we'll catch you later. So that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. We appreciate you jumping on and joining us today. If you haven't already, make sure you have subscribed to the Good Success podcast. We're on all podcast platforms. Just search Good Success, and you'll find us there. And then you can also download the official Good Success app. It's on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store for Android.
That's awesome,
it's
dude. It's
stupid
so
easy
cool
to use, so use it. But if you're on Apple Podcasts, head over there and leave us a 5-star review. We would much appreciate that and hear your thoughts about these episodes. And then the Good Success Mastermind. You saw Alex here. He's one of our Good Success Mastermind members, has been for the past 2 quarters. But if you want to learn more about it, go to goodsuccess.com/mastermind. Fill out the application there. You'll talk to Tom on the phone and talk about, you guys just heard Alex. This is like the person, like a good model of who is in the mastermind, the type of people, and every single person that's in that mastermind has that type of personality, has that type of spirit, that mindset and everything of being a giver. And that was the last thing he left us with.
Yep,
so
awesome.
Absolutely. And then, and you heard the way he described good success. That's like the quintessential, exact moment of what good success is all about. So goodsuccess.com/mastermind. Then the Community Go Giver event happening June 26, 27, 28, right here in our office, selling out at 80 seats. And we don't have that available right now. So if you don't want to miss out, go sign up, communitygogiver.com, pick up your tickets there. It's significantly cheaper than almost any event you're going to go to for the speaking lineup, the value that you're going to get for a 3-day event. It's going to be crazy. So that's going to do it for today's episode. We appreciate you jumping on and joining us today. Remember to be a conduit, not a bucket.
Work to have to give.
And we'll catch you guys on the next one.